Після перерви продовжується
We shall continue the special joint meeting after the break. Please invite the candidate to the High Court judge position, Bayda Anton Oleksandrovych.
Добрий день, сідайте, будь ласка.
Good day, please be seated.
Розглядається питання щодо відповідності.
We shall consider whether the candidate to the High Court judge position, Bayda Anton Oleksandrovych, is compliant with the criteria of Part 4, Article 8 of the Law of Ukraine on the High Court. The PCIe members are present. Names follow: Norman Oz and Mary K. Butler, joining us by video.
Також присутні члени Вищої
The HQCJ members are present. Their names follow:
Ярослав Дух, Роман Кидисюк, Надія Кабецька, Олег Колюш, Ігор Кушнір, Руслан Мельник, Олексій Ємельян, Андрій Пасічник до нас приєднається трохи пізніше, Роман
Andriy Pasechnik will join us shortly. Roman Sabotage joining us by video. Is the composition of the commission clear to you? Yes, it is clear. Your rights. You have the right to make recusals, make motions, provide explanations with the consent of the chairman, make objections, and challenge the commission's decisions. In the special joint session, we are not considering any new materials other than those submitted by the candidate within the deadline. In case there are circumstances that can significantly affect the decision on the candidacy, with the consent of at least 3 commission members, new materials can be annexed, added to the consideration. Are your rights clear to you? Yes, thank you. Do you have any recusals or motions? No, I don't. Thank you. Then let us switch to your candidate profile. I am the rapporteur in your case, Kolyush Oleg Leonidovich. The competition to fill 23 vacancies within the High Court judges' positions appellate chamber of the High Court was announced by the decision of the HQCJ. The candidate approached the commission with a request to admit him to the competition as a person compliant with Clause 2, Part 2, Article 7 of the Law of Ukraine on the High Court, and with a request to be admitted to the qualification test. The candidate was admitted to sit the qualification test and to participate in the competition. In February 2026, the results of the first stage of the qualification test were published. The candidate scored 354.21 points and was admitted to the second stage of the qualification test, study of a case file and interview. The candidate graduated from Yaroslav Mudry National Law Academy of Ukraine in 2001 and earned his degree in law and his qualification of an attorney. In 2002, he graduated from the aforementioned university and earned his master's degree and the attorney's qualification. The candidate has the academic degree, a PhD in law, criminal law, and he also has academic title of the Associate Professor at the Department of Criminal Law as of 2012. Professional activities from 2005 to 2011 worked as Associate Professor at the Department of Criminal Law, the Yaroslav Mudry National Law Academy. From 2011 to 2021 worked as Associate Professor at the same department of the same university. In 2021-2024 worked as the Associate Professor, this same department, same university, and since 2024 has worked at this department at this university, has an attorney's license from 2021 has had this license since 2021. The candidate has provided declarations on family ties, integrity declaration, and the declaration of a person authorized to perform the functions of the state. The Commission approached different state bodies regarding the candidate and received answers. The candidate took part in the competition for vacant judge positions at the High Anti-Corruption Court in 2018, in 2019, but the competition was cancelled. In 2023, took part in the competition for vacant judge positions at the Courts of Appeal, but failed the second stage cognitive abilities, and 2024 also takes part in the local court judge position competition. Was it correct? Would you like to contribute anything? No? Then over to Mr. Robert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Robert Broekhuizen, and I'm your rapporteur. So I will ask you some questions on behalf of the PCIe. And the first question I have for you is maybe you can tell us why you consider yourself qualified to become a member of the High Anti-Corruption Court. Briefly, please.
I believe that given my experience of scientific analytical work for more than 20 years, my level of qualifications, I participated not only in teaching, but I also took part in development of draft laws at the request at the Supreme Court. I participated in qualification of criminal cases. For more than 7 years, I have taught at the Department of the Security Service at our university. This is the most complex service at our university, and I don't have a direct experience in administering justice, but I think it is a matter of experience, long-term experience. And what also matters is the scientific and analytical experience, the experience of analyzing complex issues belonging to the specialty of the Hague. And I believe that my ability to make complex legal decisions from the point of view of interpretation, qualification, and application of law, I have the necessary qualifications in order to administer justice as part of the Hague. Beyond that, as a teacher and a lecturer, I'm teaching a course, Qualification of Criminal Cases, and my experience in analyzing law application in criminal cases allows me to say that we have a certain discrepancy between the legislation.
Because I understand that you give a course on a certain subject, but I think your answer is clear. You say that your scientific background gives you sufficient possibility to become a Hague judge. If I heard you correctly, you said that you consider yourself able to write, let's say, decisions on difficult subjects. Is that what you said? Is that correct? Yes?
Yes, this is correct.
But you don't have any experience in writing decisions, court decisions, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
We have noted that you have a lawyer's license. Have you ever done a case connected with corruption as a lawyer? Ні.
No.
Переважно та кількість справ, що в мене була.
The few cases that I have had since 2021, the 7 cases I've had throughout this period, they were related to the issues my friends and relatives had.
Okay. Do I understand that you, with a lawyer's license, since 2021 only handled 7 cases? Так,
Yes, that's right.
так, я мав тільки 7.
I have only had 7 cases, approximately, maybe 8. I cannot give you the exact number, but there were few of them, and they were related to really some mundane situations that needed to be resolved as soon as possible. And they were related to the onset of the full-scale invasion. The first case was about the return of a child, and his mother approached me to be able to take her child abroad. And they were in Izum. Izum was occupied back then. And we turned to different courts in order to resolve this issue. So I could have some cases like this.
Yeah. I asked my assistant to do some research in public records how many cases your name turns up. And I believe it's a bit more than 8.
Можливо, і було більше, ніж
It is probable that I had more cases, but taking into account that it is not my main occupation, it is rather a test. I put myself to test as a lawyer, as an attorney, in order to gain hands-on experience. And I dedicate the bigger part of my time to lecturing. And after I also prepared my qualification test. So I do believe that I have had few cases, 8 cases, maybe slightly more.
Yeah, I don't know that because I've not been part of that. The only one who knows that is you, how many cases you had. Do I understand correctly that all your assistance as a lawyer was for free?
Так, ви правильно зрозуміли.
Yes, that's right.
I'm an attorney myself for years. I find it so special that in Ukraine all the lawyers provide services for free. Doesn't seem to be a society where that happens. If I take a taxi, I have to pay. If I buy a piece of bread, I have to pay. If I go to a hotel, I have to pay. Everyone has to be paid because that's how society works. Are you sure that everything you did was for free?
Я впевнений в цьому.
I'm confident of this, and I will say it again. I put myself to test in this way, to test my theoretical knowledge in practice. And my attitude to my links to my main occupation. And I believe that if you take a job up, then you need to complete it at the highest possible quality. And I believe that I needed to have some experience. When people turned to me, and the first case was about that woman that I mentioned, she wanted to take her child abroad. So she found me through some friends, and I felt embarrassed to charge her. And another case that I had in those 3 years, a serviceman with prosthetic limb, and I know of their family. I know what kind of circumstances they find themselves, or these were some short-term issues.
I understand.
An issue.
I understand that you try to explain that you work for free. I must say that sometimes I have difficulty to believe that because I don't see Ukraine as a society where everything is for free. To the contrary. But I have another question for you. You had to fill in declarations about your assets and your income, etc. Can you tell me whether you think this is a good idea that someone has to fill in declarations? And that especially in connection to the position that you seek to have, and that's a judge in the High Anti-Corruption Court. What do you think about those declarations? Are they useful or are they not useful? Should they be filled in correctly or should it not be done? What's your view about that?
Дякую за запитання.
Thank you for this question. I understand why you're asking this question. I had some blank spaces in my declaration, and I haven't had an experience of filling out declaration before, and I have submitted corrected versions in order to display a transparent declaration to observe the transparency, integrity principles. I've also made some mistakes, and these were rather technical mistakes. Some things were really new to me, and I corrected them. Some things, some mistakes remained.
I asked what is your view on declarations, whether they should be filled in complete and correctly. That was my question to you.
Я так думаю, що тут відповідь може бути тільки однозначно.
Well, I think the answer can be only one. Yes, they must be filled out appropriately according to the instruction.
Yes, I think so. And you agree with me that if you would be a Hague judge, you possibly would have to decide on cases where declarations have become an issue.
Моя позиція буде ґрунтуватися виключно на вимогах закону.
My position as a Hague judge will be based in the law. The law says that we are supposed to state certain data in the declaration. Then, so be it. If there are blank spaces or mistakes, then we may be talking about criminal liability for failure to provide reliable information.
Yes, and those declarations also request you to provide information about family members. You know that.
Так.
And what is your view
That's
that
right.
if someone doesn't fill in the information about family members, what should happen with someone like that? Is he then qualified to be a member of the Hague?
Ну, треба з'ясувати
Well,
причини невнесення.
I will need to clarify the reasons of failure to do so. We have elements of the criminal.
I ask you a few. What happens if you don't do that? What would be the result or the consequence of that? That's what I asked. My next question will be why you didn't do it. The first question is, Why didn't you? What is the result if you don't fill in the declaration with all the information there? You're a professor in criminal law. You're applying for the house. You should know that. Так, причина, ще раз
Yes.
кажу,
So the reason of failure to indicate information about family members, I tried to correct it in my declaration, and the consequences are those stipulated in the law. But we need to establish the reasons, the grounds. Why? Was their intent? Was it done with the purpose of concealing information or highlighting the financial situation inappropriately, or was it something different?
Yes. Well, I have an answer in front of me on a question that we raised to you. And the question was, did you declare all your mother's income and savings in your property declarations? You remember that question, huh? You do? Did your mother have an income in 2022 and 2023? For example, did she receive pension benefits? And then your answer is, no, I did not declare absolutely all of my mother's savings, except for pension and other forms of social assistance. In particular, he did not have the moral right to ask her how much money was left when leaving the temporarily occupied territory. As I read this answer, you say, I'm not prepared to ask my mother how much money she had when she left the temporarily occupied territory. Because you say, I don't have the moral right to do that. But the declaration contains an obligation to do that, isn't it?
Я скажу наступне, що
I will say the following.
перший рік повномасштабного вторгнення.
The first year of the full-scale invasion, 2022.
Так, матір мала
Yes,
відповідні
my mother had profited from some social benefit.
в неї ще є кошти.
She benefited from social
Чому я не
payments, and I did not declare all of her income. Why? Take into account that at that time her diagnosis was confirmed, unfortunately, regarding her health condition. We were thinking about other things. We had a different agenda. Now I analyzed her income in 2022, 2023, the materials of the judicial profile. So in 2022, there was no information regarding her because she was not reflected in any databases. So I asked her about her approximate income, and now I know it. But because we were not talking about some money that were too considerable for them to declare. Yes, indeed, I failed to indicate this information, but I believe that this is a technical mistake. There was no intent to conceal information. It was, I just overlooked it. I didn't mean to hide this information.
Well, you say in your answer that you had no moral right to ask her. That shows that you thought about it and you on purpose did not fill it in the form. So I don't know how this works because I'm a foreigner. I don't know how it works here in Ukraine, but I would say this is with intent, because when you think about it and you don't do something after thinking about it, that is intentional, isn't it? Maybe I'm wrong because I'm a foreigner. What do I know?
It seems to me that intent is shaped with other objective and subjective factors. Why I didn't have a moral right to ask her? She was very depressed. And if I came to her and to ask her, how much money did you have? Or where did you transport it? So given her health condition, in 2024, she had a surgery. I admit that I may have made a mistake that should not be made. And in my answers, I try to answer very accurately to the question why I didn't ask it to my mother. And I also had a divorce. I got a divorce, and my mother was not a fan of it. And it would look like as if I, instead of helping her, pulling my weight, I would be asking her about her money. So it was more of a personal issue, inner family issue. She just left the temporary occupied territory, and she was in a very bad shape. And only recently she got a surgery. I'm trying to be clear, but this is how it was.
Okay. In your declaration, you also did not mention, if I'm correct, that you had a partner in 2022. Since, I believe, 2019, someone with whom you were living together or had a relationship. And she was not mentioned there as well, wasn't she? And was this also a non-intentional mistake?
Я поясню.
I will explain. The thing is that when I was supposed to indicate the information regarding this person, our relationship had already ceased, and they didn't they didn't have regular nature. And then I was in doubt whether I need to indicate her or not. According to the rules regarding the declaration of family ties, I needed to indicate that. As a person having attorney's license, I was supposed to indicate that, and I did it, even though we didn't have any common household or shared projects. So our relationship was stopped, but I decided to indicate her in my declaration in order to fully reflect my situation. There are no grounds referring to my intent to conceal. On the contrary, I want to be to showcase my integrity, and I wasn't sure that I needed to indicate her.
I have some information that you had a desire to purchase a BMW 135, I believe, I or L car, and that there are criminal proceedings connected to this car. And we asked you about this, and you gave us written responses. Let me see where I can find it. And you say that this car was owned by a person you knew and that you had an idea to buy it. And when did you get the idea to buy this car?
Approximately in 2020, That was my acquaintance. We used to go to the gym together. Back then, I was looking for a car. I saw that car. I really liked it. And I was thinking that I would buy it for myself. But a very unfortunate situation happened in connection with a traffic accident caused by another person. I was driving my son back then, and I will not explain the details, but the matter is that the police was called, the police checked everything, including existence of the insurance policy and documents and registration documents for the car, absolutely everything. There were even insurance payments under this vehicle. And given that this unpleasant situation happened, this car was already damaged, not significantly, but still. Somehow I abandoned that idea. Then, later on, after the full-scale invasion, I came back to Kharkiv. I had to restore damaged property. Windows were broken. That person called me, another person called me and said, I'm the representative of the owner. You used to drive that car, remember? You liked it. I am going to leave to move to the US and I urgently need money. Do you still want to buy that car? He offered a very, very good price given the quality of the car. But the condition was that I had to urgently pay out a specific amount, allegedly to buy tickets to the US. I agreed to that offer. I needed a car. I had to move stuff, and I had to visit my child because he was in another region. So I gave a specific amount of money. Then, in Kharkiv, I was stopped by patrol police officers and they told, show your documents. It was established that there was the lack of correspondence between the registration document for the vehicle and the vehicle itself. So, they can exist separately, but not all together. I had no doubts that everything was legal because before that, the police checked it during the traffic accident, so I had no doubts. And then, ultimately, that case was closed in connection with the absence of the criminal offense elements. That's it.
Just to take this step by step, you did not declare this car. Why not?
Я цей транспортний засіб не міг,
I could not, I had no grounds to declare that car because I was not driving it. I just used it for a couple of days. And then the situation with the seizure happened, and with this case happened. So I was not the proper user. I was not the owner. I did not have time to become the owner.
Well, the only proof we have is that you drove the car in 2020 and you drove the car in 2022. So it looks like that you were driving this car because we have been in a very sad circumstance that in between you were never driving it. You had two of those incidents that happened, isn't it?
виглядає саме так і так.
It looks like that, and that's the reality. I had a desire to buy it. I tried to drive around the city. I made several trips. Then this traffic accident happened. Then I abandoned the idea. Then the full-scale invasion started. I thought that it would be good, after all, to buy this car and to get the right to use it. But then again, the situation happened in which I was a victim.
I understand that when you were driving it in December 2022, before that moment, you had given the owner money for the car. You bought it so that he could buy his ticket. Is that correct?
That was his condition, but registration of the vehicle, because I thought that...
How much did you pay him?
Заплатив
I paid
$3,000.
$4,000.
$4,000. And this guy, the owner, he bought a ticket with that and disappeared to US?
Ні, трошки не так
No,
було.
slightly differently. Whether he bought tickets or no, I do not know about that because that's a different question. The matter is that once the proceeding was closed, in connection with the absence of the elements of the criminal offense, the vehicle was returned to me, so the rest was removed. I was looking on my own for this owner who allegedly sold it to me because we did not register that. There was no re-registration of the car. I managed to find him. I gave this car back to him and I took away the money from him. That's it.
You got your money back.
Так.
And do I understand
Yes.
correctly that you bought it for him? You paid him the 4,000. Was that the full price or was that part of the price?
Повна вартість автомобіля
The full price of the car was $9,000.
В зв'язку з цим я і погодився.
In connection with that, I agreed to that because back then the price was much lower than the market price. Otherwise, maybe I would have thought about that, especially given that another person, not the owner, was getting in touch.
And when you were stopped the 26th of December 2022, do I understand correctly that this was again a test drive?
Це було за
That was 2 days. 2 days passed after I had made this arrangement with him. I had even doubts. Maybe it was like some sort of scheme because unfortunately that happens. When seemingly something is sold, then it is seized, then sold again. And I was thinking whether I got in this scheme because everything happened very quickly. So that's
And
the
in
situation.
between, let's say between 2020 and 2024, you didn't have a car, you didn't drive a car. You were always walking or public transport.
Справа в тому, що
The matter is that yes, I was using public transport to get to my son's place. I was no, I didn't have, and that's why I wanted to buy it because I needed a car. But the price was okay for me, and that's why we had this situation. Unfortunately, I became a victim of a fraudulent lie.
Yes. And then in 2024, if I'm not mistaken, your mother acquired a car, a BMW X5. That's correct, huh? And I understand from your written response that this car was bought for your mother and not for you. And you didn't give your mother any money to buy it. Because you told us that your mother was able to buy it because she sold 2 apartments at the time. It's correct, huh?
Так, все правильно.
Yes, everything is correct. These were the money of my mother, the money that were given to buy this BMW 135i. This was also her money from her knowledge, and further actions were agreed by me with her, and so that's why this car was registered in her name because that was her money. And when the matter arose that before surgery and after the surgery she had to get to specific procedures, she asked me whether we can buy something, and I said, do we have any possibility? And she says, limited, but let's look at the situation. Maybe we can buy something good. And that we bought this X5 from the US. It was in a normal technical condition, but all of that information is available. The price was about $4,000 in the US. And so the total price was $7,000.
You understand that we cannot correct whether we cannot check whether your information is correct because earlier you didn't declare those income from those two apartments for your mother, did you? So when we ask you about this, then this story comes up, but it's not reflected in your declaration, is it?
Щодо цих квартир, я
With
можу
respect to these
пояснити.
apartments, I can explain how all of that happened.
У 2007 році,
In 2007, 2007,
квартира в місті
an
Бердянськ,
apartment in Berdyansk was sold,
і за місяць купив.
and a month later, an apartment was bought in Kharkiv.
Вартість
The price
операції складала
of the surgery was 75,000. The price of the operation was $75,000. 10,000 were the money of my aunt from that sale price of the apartment.
The only thing I remarked is that we couldn't check it because it was not reflected in your declaration. So we have read that your mother doesn't have a driving license, does she?
Звичайно, ніколи не
Of
було.
course, no, she has never had it.
And you were not driving this car.
Щодо BMW X5, я
With respect to BMW WX5, yes, I was driving. I declared that part in the declaration that I filed in 2025. And I declared that I am the driver of this car because my mother cannot do that.
Я якраз вказував.
I declared that.
Your mother bought it with her own money and you didn't help her in that respect because she had money enough. That's I understand.
Я б не сказав, що
I would not say that she had enough money. If she had enough money, then maybe we would have bought something different rather than a car from the auction in that condition in which it was. I did not have money. I did not have money that I could use to buy a vehicle. She had money, and she told me, I have some money. I could find them and move them out. I did not ask how much or anything. And she asked me whether we could buy anything. And I told her, I will ask my friends who are dealing with that. And they charged me the price that was exclusively the purchase price for the vehicle and only transportation expenses. I could not have bought anything for a higher price because we didn't have more money than that.
If I'm not mistaken, you gifted your money also in an apartment, didn't you, in 2017? Did she need to have this apartment? Why did you give this apartment to her?
Справа в тому, що ця
The
квартира
matter is that this apartment
була
was owned by my deceased grandmother. She registered this apartment in my name before her death. Why I gave this apartment to my mother? Because we had not a very good family situation related to my divorce. And the apartment that was located in Kharkiv, there was a claim from my mother against my ex-wife in order to eliminate obstacles regarding the use of this apartment because my ex-wife did not want to evict from that apartment. That happened in 2016. In 2017, upon request of my mother, I re-registered that apartment in her name in order to prevent similar situations in the future when some property that remains from our deceased relatives could have been gone somewhere else. That was exclusively the desire of my mother, and that's why I registered that deed of gift. So that's not some strange apartment. No, that apartment had been previously owned by my grandmother who died.
Okay. And do you consider this, let's say, normal way of action? It would mean that it's not part of your property, but part of your mother's property, and that it would never come in the hands of someone else. Let's say something that is normal practice in Ukraine. How should I see that? З врахуванням специфіки саме
Given the peculiarity of
сімейних відносин
family relationship in Ukraine,
кожна матір переживає,
every mother is worried about the property owned by her son.
була дуже складна і
That was a very difficult and negative and morally difficult situation related to my divorce.
І
And again, I would like to repeat, there was raised the issue that it was impossible. There was filed a claim. It was impossible to evict my former wife. She refused to leave the apartment. And my mother was very concerned about that because that apartment had been bought using all the money that we had back then, basically. And in order to avoid possible situations from my side related to some other possible marriage in the future, as she was explaining to me, and she asked me to re-register that apartment in her name, and I did that.
Yes, just to be in time, Mr. Chair, exactly 40 minutes, and I don't want to overrun. I've finished my questioning. I'm just looking at my colleagues. No? Back to you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your answer. Mr. Bayda.
У мене теж є
I
декілька
also have
запитань.
some questions to you. My first question is about the integrated declaration of the candidate for the position of the judge for 2023, the declaration of family ties for 2019 to 2023, and the declaration of the person authorized to perform functions of the state for 2023. You did not file them on time. Explain why.
Зараз
Now,
не можу пригадати
I
причину.
cannot recall the reason of that, but probably
За 24.
for 2024, you are saying, right? For 2023, in 2024.
Це
Я
було
нагадаю вам, ви
I will remind you, you had a couple of minutes of delay for family ties and integrity declarations, but the declaration of the person authorized by the state was submitted at the same time as the family ties declaration, that is with a delay of over a month. I will explain. That was exclusively because of family situation, 2024.
Я намагався пояснити.
I've tried to explain to the representatives of the PCIe.
Громадська рада міжнародних експертів. Я відбувалися
I-
негативні
Quite negative events were happening in my family.
Це питання просто
And
випало з голови.
I just forgot about that. I'm frank with you. I submitted. I tried to correct that.
Дійсно, ну, справа в тому, що я
Indeed,
це запитання
I've just asked a question. Forgot. Okay, that's fine. Because of family situation, I accept your answer. You cannot give any other answer. So that's why do not.
Треба лаконічніше відповідати.
Please be concise while answering questions. Next question. Integrity declaration for 2024. You did not put a mark, confirm or do not confirm in clause 19 that I've diligently performed official duty.
Можете
Can you please?
Я думаю, що це технічна
I think that was a technical mistake. Just forgot about that?
Я завжди виконував.
I always perform my professional duties diligently. Maybe you meant something and no, I didn't mean any. But there are no notes. No, I don't think. I don't even think I'm convinced that it was a mistake. Okay. Then you've provided explanations to the PCIe, and you've mentioned that after the full-scale invasion of the Russian Federation, you evacuated to the branch of the Yaroslav Mudry University to Poltava. How long did you live in Poltava?
Менше, ніж це треба було.
For less than I've asked not about the declaration period. I've asked about the number of days, months, weeks. I think for approximately 3 months, maybe. That's maximum. Because then I had to go.
Вимушений був поїхати.
I had to go to the city of Kharkiv because
Полтаві ви проживали 3 місяці.
you lived in Poltava for 3 months, approximately, more or less. 3 or 4, right? Maybe.
Потім повернулися до Харкова.
And then you came back to Kharkiv. Yes. And then after that, I was in Kharkiv for some period of time. Then I was in Trostyanets in Sumy region. I was repairing damaged housing.
Звільнили це місто.
That town was liberated. After that, I was with my ex-wife in Haidichiv in Poltava region. So I did not have any permanent place of residence. Okay, now let's discuss it with a breakdown by months and years. When did you evacuate to Poltava, as you're saying? Month, year. 2022, of course. What was the month? Well, that was probably March of 2022, correct? When did you get back to Kharkiv? In summer, I went there, then I returned to... Anton, when did you return to Kharkiv? In summer. In summer. What is the month? Maybe June. June, July. June, July of 2022. Yes, of course. And then the situation in autumn happened when I explained about the car. Okay, clear. Did you get social benefits as an IDP? Of course I got them. Up to a year of the social payments. But again, I cannot say that I returned to Kharkiv specifically. I cannot say that it was the return. It was the resolution of issues related to property. After that, I went further. I was not in one town or one place. Okay, let's establish what was the ground for getting the status of an IDP for you. The ground was that as of the moment of departure and as of the moment when I arrived at Mark with the respective structural units of our university, I thought that I would stay there. Where? There. In Poltava. What city did you live? Kharkiv. And you are an IDP from Kharkiv. Yes. Back then, it was the area of active hostilities. It was under shelling. The city of Kharkiv. Yes, of course. Okay, understood. And you returned in June of 2022, but you continued getting social benefits as an IDP until 2024. Let's put it that way. Social benefits as an IDP were no longer paid to me in 2022. In 2023 and 2024, according to the information from the State Register of Taxpayers, you got social benefits from the Department of Social Protection of the Executive Committee of Shevchenkivsky District Council in Poltava. Maybe now I just do not remember that, but I can explain about that. The matter is that we were not sure what would happen next, and to refuse from the state assistance, especially given that I did not live in any particular city or town. In response to my question, you just said that you returned to Kharkiv in June of 2022. Yes. My next question. In the declaration of the person authorized to fulfill functions of the state and local self-governance from 2018 to 2024, you declared the right to use an apartment with a value of at the same time, according to information from the State Register of Real Estate Objects, the price of this apartment is 22,132 hryvnias. Can you please explain this discrepancy? Yes, of course. Valuation was conducted according to the Bureau of Technical Inventory. I think they conducted this appraisal, but in the sale and purchase agreement, the real price was given. So, in the register is the value of the BTI. No, the appraisal was conducted by those real estate agents who helped to get to register that real estate object, but no one was hiding anything. So that was taken not from the agreement. There was one appraisal price, and that's the amount in hryvnia from the sale and purchase agreement. Okay, understood. In response to the question of Mr. Robert Heinbruckheisen, you've responded that you were providing your legal aid pro bono, yes, until 2025. But if we look at agreements on provision of legal aid provided by you, all of them have clause number 5, and that you specify the price of services and the procedure of settlement. That was a typical agreement. And there you have the hourly rate of 0.25 of the minimum salary. Can you provide the explanation? Yes, these were typical agreements. No amendments were introduced into them. No funds were paid under these agreements. These agreements were developed by some public bodies as typical for everyone, or were those yours? No, these were not my typical agreements. So this practice was existing with respect to agreements back when I started doing that. My ex-close person worked in the law firm, and she told me that it would be a good agreement that would comply with requirements of the current legislation. So I was not drafting that. I took a typical form. Again, no one paid anything under this agreement. No, it did not happen. And that was just a standard agreement, model agreement, so that the person could be represented in respective bodies. But it's possible to do that free of charge, and you can do that even without this clause. Of course. So you just didn't check the agreement when you were signing it. No, I looked at that. You were looking, but you didn't see this clause. I just did not introduce any amendments there, given that most of the cases that I had were, like actual, you have to do everything tomorrow. I did not have time to introduce any changes into this agreement. Or to reconclude the agreement without this clause. Why would I do that if no one was paying anything? The representation happened. So yes, maybe it was not absolutely correct, but I don't think that this is a very objectively important for the clarification of important issues. Then, answering the question of the PCAE, you've also mentioned that you did not have joint projects with Citizen Trofimova, right? Yes. Tell me, please, then, where was your workplace located, her workplace located, what was the address? I will explain. I understand what you want to ask. The matter is that one of the conditions for the registration of, for the receipt of the Plutonis license in Kharkiv is that you had to have a connection with the city of Kharkiv. Since my cohabitant had registration in Sumy region, she needed an opportunity to pass this exam with the bar council in the city of Kharkiv. That's why we did it. That was a pure formality explained by peculiarities that existed. So we asked, how can we do that? How can an exam be passed to get the license in the bar council of Kharkiv? And we were told, you need either to have registration, or if you don't have the registration, connect yourself somehow. Since we lived together, then she provided that, and I knew about that. It was not a mistake. So there is a profile, and that's the accurate information. Yes, that's a practice that was related to that. In your opinion, is this practice correct? Since she did not change her registration, since her correspondence address was at this address, I don't think that there is any significant violation here, especially concealment or misleading information. No. Okay, understood. Then, according to information from civil society organizations that we've received, they are also telling us that you do not have information about advanced training for Tony. Can you please provide explanations regarding that? Yes, I will explain that. The matter is that I started engaging in these activities that basically coincided with the start of the full-scale invasion. I did not have money to. Of course, I had money. I was paying contributions, but all of these advanced trainings are quite expensive. So I thought that now I would deal with my matters related to my mom and to the preparation primarily for qualification exams to become a judge. And then I will properly start engaging in that activity. I just didn't have time to listen to these courses of advanced training because I was either working with my students or I was dealing with my mom matters related to her health, or I was preparing and I spent lots of time to prepare for exams. Of course, that's a violation. I understand that.
This is a violation, I understand this, but I'm trying to explain it. And regarding the information from the registry of vehicles, 14 protocols of administrative offenses, Article 122, have been registered in your name in 2025. Could you explain this number of offenses? You can see that such protocols were registered from 2024 to 2025, and there are no more protocols. In 2024, the situation was rather complicated, and I provided the extract from the anamnesis of my mother to the PCIe. We would go to Lviv and then to Kyiv, the Institute of Oncology. So I'm now being frank, disclosing this medical information. So I was in a rather complicated moral situation, moral state, psychological state, and I could overlook the traffic cameras. So it was due to your state of health? No, it was due to my mother's state of health. Okay, let us not be hurry that much. So regarding your mother, in 2018, she purchased an apartment in Kharkiv for more than 1 million hryvnia. Is this correct? Yes. What was her source of income to do that? If we take the dates when she purchased the apartment and a dacha, a land plot for farming, for gardening, it was only related to my aunt's wish to somehow improve her material state because she had gotten a divorce from her husband. And because she helped us to buy an apartment that I already mentioned in Kharkiv, my mom, whose money was it? My aunt's money. Exclusively my aunt's money. And no other agreements or loans. So your aunt gave money to your mother to buy that apartment. Yeah, she gifted that money to my mother in order for my mother have this apartment on her own. It is not a joint property. Okay, no more other questions. Thank you. Colleagues, any other questions? No questions? Oh, yes. Just a short question related to the circumstances that you have just disclosed to us. Definition of the gift according to the law on corruption prevention. Part 1 of this aforementioned law defines the gift the following: money provided free of charge, but at no interest, and that does not exceed 2 subsistence minimums at the time, 2 to 4 subsistence minimums throughout a year from one person or a group of people to another individual, and that presupposes
Якщо мова йде про підкуп, це кримінальна відповідальність.
gratification, being
Я не став перед метою
grateful for this gift.
проекзаменувати вас стосовно знань по
So,
взагалі то ж ринків. Є просто визначення.
I'm not testing you here, but
точно не обмежується.
the definition is somewhat different from what you have just provided.
Однією з ознак
One of the characteristics of a gift is receiving a certain item, maybe a vehicle, for a price lower than the market price. And you said that you were surprised at the price of the vehicle. It was lower than the average market price. So let's imagine you are a high court judge and you are offered such a vehicle at this price. What are your actions? Is it a gift that you as a high court judge cannot receive? I will deny this because it will violate the norms of the corruption prevention law. But how about this situation? I'm offering you a vehicle and I'm setting a price, 10 or 5,000 US dollars. So I like you as a person and I want my car to have a good owner. The issue of some concealed actions that can be regarded as corruptional. And what are the signs of corruption here? Granting. Well, this situation did not arise like this. We must have had a certain relationship. I didn't mention any relationship. So I just found you as a customer. I liked you. So the price will be $5,000. The car is fresh and new. Any corruptional risks, any violations? Are there any? Well, of course, there can be some. And the explanation regarding that car, BMW X5, is very transparent. As long as that person can provide such a transparent explanation, because we will have capital repairs amounting to the same sum of $5,000. It can be regarded as a trap rather than a gift in such a situation. So we started with corruptional risks, and now you're saying that if there is a good explanation, then you can explain anything. So as long as the vehicle's price is lower than the market price. Okay, thank you. Thank you. PCIe members, do you have any questions?
No, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Добре. Дякую, пане Антоне, вам надається можливість.
Thank you, Anton. You have an opportunity to address the HQCJ and PCIe members to provide any additional information, clarify, or comment on something. I can only thank for this possibility to present myself here, explain why I would like to be a judge. I'm grateful for highlighting my mistakes when filling out my tax return, and I try to give you a very honest explanation of why it happened, and thank you for your effort. Thank you. Thank you for your participation in this interview. Stay well. The interview is completed. We shall have a break.